Hi everyone, welcome back to the Castrology channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Cailin and today we're going to be looking at your July 2025 horoscopes. So this is a tropical Western astrological reading, and you can watch your horoscope for your ascendant sign, your sun and your moon sign as well. If you've only got time to watch one horoscope though, I would start off with your ascendant sign, which is also known as your rising sign. The reason for that is because generally speaking, it does tend to be the most accurate overall. And lastly, I am also on Instagram as well as Facebook, so it's the same handle, which is Castrology if you want to follow me there. Hi Aquarius Sun, Moon and Risings, welcome to your July 2025 horoscope. This month, you're going to feel a massive shift take place, and that's because Uranus, which is one of the planets that rules you, will be changing signs. It's actually going to leave the sign of Taurus, where it's been since 2018, and enter the sign of Gemini. And it hasn't been in Gemini for 84 years. So this is a new 8-year transit, and anytime Uranus changes signs, it is going to affect and impact the lives of Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Risings. Now, I'll definitely be mentioning some of the effects in this video, but I've actually filmed individual predictions for all 12 zodiac signs. So I'll be putting out a nice big video on that in the coming days. I do encourage you to subscribe to the channel so that you can be notified of when that is released. But without further ado, let's dive straight into career and business for you. Then we'll look at finances and property and the other major areas and themes of your life. So first things first, the Sun and Jupiter are both activating your 6th house for the month of July. Jupiter will be in Cancer for the next 11 months, but it's Cancer season, so the two are meeting here together, which can lead to there being a massive increase in your workload. There can be growth and expansion when it comes to the work that you're doing and your day-to-day processes and systems. This can see some of you actually bringing new employees on board or new team members, and there can be, simply put, more responsibility for you in the workplace. I will just mention that it's important not to burn the candle at both ends, which is very possible in the first 3 weeks of the month. So some of you may be required to work overtime, or perhaps there's an important deadline, even if you own your own personal business where you're just putting in heaps and heaps of energy and effort into that. Now, looking at other transits for the month, on the 5th of July, Venus is going to enter the sign of Gemini, and it's going to be there until the 31st. So Venus going through the 5th house can indicate that you're excited to maybe start your own business, something on the side, or maybe expand your existing business further. On the 7th of July, your ruling planet, Uranus, is going to enter the sign of Gemini, and it's going to be there for 4 months until the 8th of November, at which point it will go back into Taurus for a little bit through till around the end of April 2026. So I can't express enough how much better this is going to feel for you on a number of different levels, and that's because previously, Uranus was squaring you from the sign of Taurus, which was, I'm sure, wreaking havoc for many of you when it comes to your home life, property and living situation, a relationship with maybe parents or siblings, or a breakdown in, perhaps like a marriage or a long-term relationship. But now Uranus moving into your 5th house can see you just having a new lease on life. And when it comes to career and business, this can lead to you maybe experiencing massive changes in your existing business that you're excited about. So innovative, ingenious ideas, feeling very creatively inspired. So there can be a bunch of new creative projects that you're starting to work on. Now, on the 13th of July, Saturn is going to station retrograde in Aries in your 3rd house at 1 degree. So the 3rd house is another house which is associated with projects and also things like marketing, sales, social media, as well as short-term education programs. So Saturn retrograde here could indicate that you are maybe working really hard on a project over the next few months that may see you through till the end of the year. Or perhaps you are upskilling, so adding some kind of new technical skill to your toolkit, or perhaps you are studying and this could be a course that takes a few months to carry out. Now, still talking about career related things, towards the end of the month, there's going to be a big activation to your 7th house, which is one of the business houses in astrology. So what we're going to see here is Mercury stationing retrograde in Leo at 15 degrees, and that will be from the 18th of July through till the 11th of August. So 15 degrees back through till 4 degrees, meaning that Aquarians between 4 and 15 degrees will be the most impacted. Doesn't mean you other Aquarians won't be, but that's just the highlighted degrees there. So with career and whatnot, this could see you maybe renegotiating contracts, whether that's employment agreements, client contracts. There could be changes to existing contracts that you have. This could see you collaborating once more with someone that you used to do business with, or perhaps you and your business partner could actually push the pause button on something that you've been working on together. Okay, so basically this can see there being changes to the existing dynamics that you have with people that you work with. Now, on the 22nd of July, the sun is going to enter Leo. So that's when Leo season will commence. And so when that's the case, there can be a big focus on clients, lots of contracts that you maybe need to attend to or helping other people. And definitely if you work in sales or like a one-to-one capacity, even if that's like online tutoring, this can see you having a lot of work that you need to get through, a lot of people that you need to see, especially with the retrograde here. It can be people that were customers previously and now they're coming back on board. Maybe if you're in sales or you have your own business, you'll be working on some kind of marketing campaign that you roll out, which can lead to more contracts, more sales and whatnot. So on the 25th of July, there will be a new moon in Leo in your 7th house at 2 degrees, conjunct Mercury retrograde at 13 degrees. So this can be a new business partner coming on board, a new contract, a new agreement, a new collaboration, or new services that you're offering, or old services that are being revamped and put back out there. So because the new moon is conjunct Mercury retrograde and that's trining Saturn and Neptune, which are also retrograde, I think that whatever new chapter is starting for you around the end of the month, around the 25th of July, that you'll have awareness of this, that this has been in the making for a while, or it's like an old idea that you're refashioning, or even if you are collaborating with another person once more, it's likely to be in a totally new capacity, or there's something about that connection or that collaboration or contract that has now been enhanced and elevated somehow. Okay, so moving along to finances and property. Your 2nd house of finances, which is Pisces, is not really activated, right? Nor is your 11th house, which relates to passive and residual forms of income. What is activated for you with respect to finances would be your 8th house. And that is where you've got Virgo. So Mars is in Virgo for the whole month of July. So is the South Node. And around the 20th of July, Mars and the South Node are going to meet. They're going to conjunct at 20 degrees, which is doubling down on that 8th house Scorpio energy. And so this can see there being changes to your mutual resources and existing agreements that you have with other people. So this can be joint bank accounts, joint investments. This can be you perhaps having to pay someone back. So if you owe someone money, that could be something that you need to attend to in the month of July. On a different note, you may feel like you need to sacrifice or surrender some of your resources or finances to help out another person. If you have a ongoing child custody battle arrangement situation, then there could be changes that are being made to whatever was previously agreed. For others of you, you may be receiving a payout for an insurance claim or receiving your tax return money back, maybe receiving inheritance money. On a different note with this, there might just be some confusion when it comes to mutual resources, like who owes what, and how much, and what are the conditions. So you may have to go over old agreements or go through old emails or paper trails just to ascertain what's what, right? So moving along though, let's talk about property and living situation. So here you are activated, but only really for the first week of the month. Okay, so what's happening here is that both Venus and Uranus are in Taurus for pretty much the first few days of the month. Your fourth house is Taurus. So the fact that Uranus is going to be at 29 degrees until the 7th of July could indicate that there's maybe some kind of crisis within your home and property situation. I don't use that word lightly. Uranus only gets to 29 degrees like once every 7 or 8 years. But just know that for some of you, this could just be linked to maybe someone coming to live with you that's unexpected. So maybe they're in trouble and you're helping them out. Maybe you are moving in with another person. Maybe they're putting you up for a little while. Maybe there's someone in your life, like a family member or a friend, who's really not who's really not coping, they're struggling, and you need to spend a bit of time at their place just to help them with whatever they're going through. On a different note, I would just say be extra careful with security around this time in terms of locking your doors, security cameras, not misplacing your keys. It could be really simple where you've got some important meeting and you can't find your keys to lock up, right? So maybe you need the locks changed as an example. On the 4th of July, Venus will conjunct Uranus at 29 degrees. So I do think that if anything notable was going to happen, it would be around the 4th of July, plus or minus 1 day. So look, in saying all of this, there could be an opportunity for you to change your living situation because an amazing set of circumstances arises, like your opportunity to move into your dream home or your ideal location, or to be with your special person, your significant other, or to have a once in a lifetime shot at traveling to a certain country or moving abroad even. Okay, so that's another way that can play out. Of course, it's going to be different for everyone. I would say that the Aquarians who would be the most impacted by a change of property and living situation would be more so Aquarius risings and moons rather than suns, but take it as it resonates. And do let me know in the comment section below how things are unfolding for you. I'm always very interested to hear about your lives and always wishing you well and reading the comments, even though I don't have the capacity to reply to every single comment. Moving along, Aquarius, now let's have a look at your family life. So again, it is being activated by Uranus and Venus in the 4th house at 29 degrees. So in the first 7 days of the month, maybe arguments can arise with family members, parents, flatmates, or children. Maybe there's a slamming of doors or an unexpected outburst or revelation. With family, it doesn't need to be some kind of argument or disagreement. You could actually discover some very important knowledge about your family and your ancestry and your lineage, and maybe this is the catalyst for you to do more research, or maybe that helps you to connect some dots as it relates to why were my parents this way, or why were my grandparents that way. And maybe there's a moment of being able to make sense of things that have puzzled you for a long time. Now, on the 5th of July, Venus is going to enter the sign of Gemini, which means it's going to transit your 5th house. And then closely following that, Uranus is going to enter Gemini in your 5th house did I say it already? On the 7th of July. Okay, so the 5th house relates to your children, and so this can see your child or your relationship with your children changing. Now, because Uranus is entering your 5th house, maybe one of your children, probably more so firstborn child, is like acting up or being a bit strange or maybe a bit rebellious. But because Venus is here, maybe this is going to help you to smooth over your relationship with your child. Maybe this is an opportunity for you to show up for them and support them in some way that's very much needed. On a different note with family, this could see you maybe getting pregnant, or your significant other could be getting pregnant. Maybe you are investigating pursuing IVF or a surrogate, okay, because Uranus rules over these things. Or maybe you're looking at freezing your eggs. Also talking about family, your 3rd house is activated, okay? So on the 5th of July, Neptune will station retrograde at 2 degrees, and then on the 13th of July, Saturn will station retrograde at 1 degrees Aries. So this now is relating more to siblings and extended relatives. So with Neptune retrograde here and Saturn retrograde here, there may be a need for you to set boundaries with siblings, or maybe like aunties, uncles, cousins, or something like that. Maybe you are offering someone an apology, or they are offering you an apology, or perhaps there's just a really important conversation which is taking place with one of these individuals in your life. And ultimately speaking, you may just find that, especially in those first few days of the month, that there's a particular family member where you feel like you need to walk on eggshells, but then something can suddenly release and it can dispel that tension in the air. Okay, so I do want to say that I think there's enormous potential for healing here, and especially with siblings and relatives, and also turning a corner for the better with one of your children, especially if that relationship has been very tumultuous and up and down. So now let's talk about love, relationships, and also friendships. Okay, and I actually want to start with friendships. So the 3rd house doesn't just rule over siblings and extended relatives, it also rules over friendships as well. So in the month of July, Saturn retrograde here can see you maybe trying to rebuild a friendship and relay that foundation. And for others of you, you could be very deliberate and intentional about who you spend your time with. Neptune retrograde in the 3rd house could see you forgiving a friend, or experiencing them forgiving you for something that had occurred earlier. With the retrogrades occurring in your 7th house, Mercury retrograde, that is, from the 18th of July through till the 11th of August, this could see you maybe reconnecting with an old friend, especially if this was like a best friend or someone you had a close personal one-to-one relationship with. So you could be catching up with them, or even if you're not seeing them, you could just be communicating once more, especially if it's been a few months or years even. So now let's talk about love and romance. So ultimately, if you're already married or living with your significant other, then I would say that the rockiest time of the month would be the first 7 days. But after that, honestly, even from the 5th of July, once Venus enters Gemini, and then the 7th of July, once Uranus enters Gemini, this can see you feeling more flirty, more romantic, maybe experiencing an unprovoked, unexpected romantic gesture, or maybe you are surprising someone, like you could be asking them out, or you could go on an exciting date, which would be very Uranian in nature. Uranus and Venus in the 5th house could indicate that you may experience even love at first sight, like sparks just flying, maybe finding love on an online dating app or something of that nature. Or even if it happens more, let's say, organically, it could be that things actually move very quickly with this other person. Now, with the Mercury retrograde in your 7th house from the 18th of July onwards, you may be redefining what your relationship is if you're already in a relationship. So what are we? Where are we going? Are we exclusive? Like, what does our future look like? And for others of you, you could be reconnecting with an ex, whether that's just simply talking on the phone or texting. You could see them in person. You could be catching up over coffee. And for a very select few of you, I don't like to put this stuff out there unless I really see it, you may actually be getting back together with an ex or with someone where maybe you feel like there was a bit of a false start. Okay, so on the 22nd of July, the sun is going to enter your 7th house. So it's going to transit the sign of Leo for the next 4 weeks. So this can see you being really focused on your long-term relationship or your marriage if you're in one, or your attention is just drawn to, what do I even want in a long-term partner? If that's what you're even looking for. Obviously, a lot of us are happy to just be single, just depends on your personal set of circumstances. So lastly, for the month, with love and relationships, that is, on the 25th of July, there's a new moon in Leo in your 7th house at 2 degrees, conjunct Mercury retrograde at 13 degrees. So this can see you having important conversations with your significant other about things like finances, resources, maybe looking at opening a bank account together, or making an important investment. So, last portion of your horoscope. Definitely go easy on yourself. You know, even having Uranus in Gemini trining you, it's your chart ruler. And so your chart ruler changing signs can bring a lot of emotions up to the surface. It can have you feeling raw, exposed. It can turn certain areas of your life inside out. Aquarius, if you're wanting a real deep dive into this transit, I think I mentioned it at the start, but I can't remember now. I am going to be putting out a Uranus in Gemini video, which has predictions for all 12 signs. So I go into a lot of detail there. So you can watch that for your ascendant, sun, or moon sign. Lastly, for the month, I did want to mention that on the 11th, there will be a full moon in Capricorn, and this is going to be at 18 degrees in your 12th house. Now, the 12th house is one of the hidden houses in astrology. So when we have full moons here or new moons or even transits, we're not always experiencing things in our physical life. It's more like our inner world and our inner emotional landscape. Okay, so this can see you with the full moon in your 12th house, overcoming certain fears, overcoming certain insecurities, maybe speaking up about something that's been weighing very, very heavily on you. So you could be revealing this to another person, especially as the full moon's going to trine Mars in Virgo in your 8th house. Maybe you are speaking to someone about issues that you have with intimacy or being vulnerable with other people. You may experience some kind of really profound healing around this time. So if you had planned on seeing like a Reiki practitioner or someone who is an energy healer, then you may experience some pretty amazing results. And even hypnosis would work well around this time if you're wanting to overcome an addiction or some kind of self-sabotaging behavior. So Aquarius, that's all I have for you for this July horoscope. If you enjoyed this reading, please do me a favor and give the video a thumbs up and share it to anyone you think might enjoy it. Enjoy your month ahead, Aquarius, and I will see you guys in August.